For today's fundamentals video, I'm going into more web design basics by going over CSS. So I've covered it in my web code fundamentals video, and I'll cover it here too. To start with, CSS, which stands for Cascading Stylesheets, is how you take the things you've placed with your HTML code and then turn it into an actual web design. There are actually 3 ways you can do this for your site. The first of these is done using what's called inline styling. To do inline styling, we place the styles in an individual tag the same way we'd put an href or target into a link tag. So in a tag, we add style equals double quotes, whatever rules we want to use, separated by semicolons and a space, and then end with another pair of double quotes. There is an issue with this method though. Put short, it defeats the entire point of CSS. You can use it to style any tag, but you have to do it this way in every single tag you want to change. The whole idea of CSS is to separate your content from your design and to make things easier to change as you go. This method is the opposite of all that, but if you're updating a client's bad or just an old web design, this might pop up, so I figured it would be good to know it might be there. The second type of styling is called an internal style sheet. This is closer to what CSS is meant to be. Up in the head tags, you can add a pair of style tags, and inside of those, you put all of your CSS code, which we'll go over in a bit. This is done the exact same way as the other type of styling, external style sheets. The difference between an internal and external style sheet is that an inline sheet is part of an HTML document, while an external sheet, as the name suggests, is another file that's linked to. If you're working on a 1 or 2 page site, inline might work better, but for any kind of larger site or app, it's pretty much necessary for efficiency's sake to use an external style sheet, which is saved as a CSS file. This is because, as opposed to the other 2 types, external style sheets let you use the exact same code for any number of pages that are linked to it. If something needs to be changed, it is much better to only need to change one file's code than having to go through 20 pages making the exact same changes, which I say from personal experience for when I first started learning this stuff. To use an external style sheet, you need to link to it on any pages that are going to use it. To do this, we go into the head tag like we would in the inline style sheet, except instead of a style tag, we add a link tag. Inside of that tag, we need to add 2 things. The first is the relationship the link has to the HTML being read, which will always be rel equals, double quotes, style sheet, and another pair of double quotes. The second thing we need is the href. Like with any link, this is the actual file we're linking to, and just like with an A tag, it can be absolute or relative links. Or in layman's terms, it can either be a URL for a website hosted file, or a file as it relates in the site's files and folders to the document you're working on. Typically, for me, this will be css/styles.css. In the event you're using more than one style sheet, which can and often does happen, you can add as many link tags as needed. A last note on these 3 types is that browsers have a specific order they read CSS. Styles are read from the top down, hence cascading style sheet. Further, every style you write is all made into one virtual sheet, combining all of your CSS together. Inline styles will go on the very bottom, overwriting any external or internal style sheets. The internal style sheets will then overwrite external style sheets, and at the very top of everything are any browser defaults you haven't already corrected. All of that's how you add styles to your HTML, so let's say we get to the actual styling part of these styles. CSS lets you select any element in your web design's HTML and give it rules to control how that thing looks. The syntax for CSS styles is as follows. You start with a selector. This would be the tag like a p or a div. This is followed by a pair of brackets, and in those brackets goes your declarations or the changes being made. Declarations are made up of a property such as the margin or color and the value of the property such as 10% or blue respectively. After each of these declarations comes a semicolon, which acts as a break so that it will go on to the next style. And if there's more than one in a single rule, it's a good idea to separate them with an actual line break so you can easily read it. Speaking of readability, you can also add code into your CSS that's for your eyes only that won't actually affect the styles. Just like with HTML, you can add comments into CSS files, though they do look a bit different than you'll see in HTML. This is great for making notes to self or adding copyright and other related info onto the file. To add a comment, the first way is to add a / and an asterisk. You can then put anything you want, for any number of lines you want, before adding an asterisk and a / at the end. This is called a multi-line comment and needs to be closed the same way most HTML tags are. Typically, I'll use this to add copyright info, any color codes that I'm going to be using frequently, and even a changelog sometimes, but this can be anything you'd want to comment. Well, almost anything. If you try to wrap a block of code in a comment, while there's already a multi-line comment there, it'll break and do weird things to your styles. Everything else is fair game though. You can also add a single line comment by typing 2 slashes before any line of code, and this will remove the line from being read, also known as commenting it out, but it should be noted that this can cause errors because of how CSS is read. So, as is suggested by the W3 schools, you can also use the same syntax as multi-line comments without any line breaks. And that was the basics of CSS. As always, I hope you've all learned something and enjoyed yourself doing it. There will be more web design fundamentals and how-tos coming to this channel in the future. In the meantime though, if you've got any questions, thoughts, or other feedback, you can let me know with a comment down below. You can also like this video and share it around, which helps with Google's rankings. And I'm planning to be back here every Friday, so be sure to subscribe for more awesome content. Have a great day, everyone.